Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 3 and episode number 253 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Yeah. Today, recording day, is Thursday, November 16th, 2023. And whatever the weather is outside, it's going to be a gorgeous day here at the Beaver Lodge because I'm a very, 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 very happy beaver. Yes, I am. And I'll tell you why soon. But first, of course, with me is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly, looking very, very, very good in blue, I must say. That's a great color on you. Yes.
Thanks, man.
Very good. Big thank you to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. Mr. Grizzly, good morning to you. How's your mental health today, sir?
Well, good morning, Mr. Beaver. My mental health is quite good today, actually. Surprisingly good. I don't know why. Don't ask questions. When you're doing good, just roll with it, man, because if you ask questions, your mental health will suffer from it. Something I've learned. Why am I feeling good today? And then get guilt trip myself into feeling like, why? Don't do that.
No.
Don't examine it. If you feel good, roll with it, man, because you don't know how long it's going to last.
Yeah. Well, don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Exactly.
Look at the belly to see if it's a Trojan horse, though.
Well, that is sage advice indeed. Yes.
Yes. I am a happy beaver because last night. Yes.
Please.
Okay. Was the last game of the first round of doubles curling A division because again,
Right.
Backstory: we were in A division just once in the last 4 years, and lost every game. This year we won our first. Last week we tied, but we were still in one of the two last spots, and the two last spots go down. So we had a must-win game yesterday, and we were down 4-0 after 3 ends, and we only played 6 of them. And then we scored a 3, a 2, and a 2 to win 7-4 against a team we've never defeated. They go down to B. We are legit A now. Boom.
Legit A.
Oh. Well, I said we were legit when we first got a win, but we actually played around in A and get to stay in A.
Okay.
By our nails, we were 6th out of 8, so we get to stay. But we get to stay. internal squeeing, very loud. I won't do it loud because I know audio, but yeah.
Hmm.
And I don't know if I mentioned it, but I did win the activity ladder at the tennis club this year. So the Beaver, Sweetie, and
Well,
I.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, we have two ladders. We have competitive, where it's wins and losses, and if you win, you go up the ladder, and you lose, you go down. And if you happen to be at the top of the ladder at the end of the year, you win. But there's an activity ladder where you get a certain amount of points for a win and for a loss, and the more you play, the more points you get. But the people who are really
Right.
good get the 2 points for the win every time. So, me who loses a lot, I have to play 2 games for every person who wins a lot to get the same amount of points. It means I have to play a lot. And I won. So we have a gift certificate for lunch for 2 at a place called the Chit Chat Cafe here in Kingston. So that's what I won for. Congratulations for running around on the court and losing some weight. Here's some food. Fatten up for next season.
Go fatten your ass up.
Yes, Kit Cassie. I was channeling Gushu. I swear, I don't know what's with me the last 2 days. Yesterday, I was okay in the first 3, but not really great. And then all of a sudden, in the fourth end, I was playing the same way I was playing the night before when I said I played like a professional. I was just making
Mm.
everything. And even in the first, actually, I wasn't playing that poorly the first 3. It's just every single end, they were ahead of us by a quarter of an inch. I was just, how
Mm.
does he keep doing it? And then I figured,
That's
well,
what she said.
yeah, but title of your sex tape.
I don't have a sex tape.
So yeah,
My mom's watching, dude.
I'm a very beaver. When he leaves me an opening, I just gotta.
Uh, I don't have it. I assure you, I do not have a sex tape. Okay.
No, I don't have one either. um, so yeah, but I figured, they got to have a dip. They can't be playing like rock stars the entire night, and eventually they did, and we kept our consistent game, and boom. So I'm a happy beaver.
It's the 23rd century. Who has anything on tape?
Right? Exactly. Everything's hologram now. Anyway, don't ask me how I know.
21st century, not 23rd. But you know what I mean. I was joking, by the way. I don't have anything
No.
like that. I don't.
No. No, that's one skeleton I don't have in my closet. There
Yeah,
are a
yeah.
lot of them. That's one of them I don't have. All right.
Funny thing is, most people wouldn't even have an issue with it today.
Oh no, probably not.
Right?
No. I mean, the usual suspects would, but I don't think anybody that loves and cares about me would mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably
Exactly.
there's a certain portion of them that would probably get some popcorn. It's like, don't see what's going on. I love my friends. Anyway, in the news, I know yesterday we wanted to talk about Ford corruption, and Mr. Grizzly, I believe you probably have a few things to say. So,
I do.
why don't I let you kick that one off?
Well, you know, here's the thing. I've been chatting back and forth with a couple of people on the Twitter. I know it's called X now, but I still call it the Twitter because
It's the Twitter. We're shitter.
the Twitter. Yeah, well, these days it's mostly shitter. But gentlemen, you know what? Let me pull that back. A person. I don't know if this is a male or female person. I have no idea. A person I've been chatting with about the Doug Ford thing did a pretty deep dive on the connections within the corruption and the levels thereof
Mhm.
of the Ford government, and talking about Kensington Capital, the owner of ClearPoint. Um, they're also invested in Alaya Care, Alaya Care, Alaya Care, software used by home care and nurse staffing agencies. The private providers Doug Ford is allowed to grow substantially within Ontario's healthcare system. There's a ton of money flowing into private healthcare services and private healthcare technologies from this one Canadian investment firm, Kensington. You know who uses that software? Laura Harris, Mike Harris's wife. who owns her own private nurse staffing agency called the Care Company. She's the CEO and co-founder. You know who gave $53 million in funding to Kensington back in 2014 under the Harper Conservative government's Venture Capital Action Plan?
Who?
Jim Flaherty,
Oh.
Christine Elliott's late husband.
Mm-hmm.
On November 14th, 2014, Kensington Venture Fund had its initial closing with $160 million in commitments, of which $107 million was from the institutional, corporate, and individual investors, alongside $53 million from the Government of Canada. The fund has an overall target size of $300 million. So let's sum it up. 2014, Jim Flaherty gives $53 million in funding to Kensington. 2019, Kensington buys ClearPoint private healthcare clinics. 2020 to 2022, Christine Elliott increases funding for ClearPoint private health clinics. 2023, Christine Elliott now works for ClearPoint Kensington. It's not difficult to follow the money on this because these people are criminals, but they're not very good at it. They're not very smart. They don't know how to hide shit, which I'm thankful for because, you know, if we're going to have criminals, I'd prefer we have stupid ones that we can catch easily. We just got to figure out how to pin this on them. Now, that part I don't know, as I'm neither a lawyer nor a police officer. But if you look at all of it, it's the level of corruption. They are trying. She was the former Minister of Health, for Christ's sake. Now she works for a private equity firm.
Just
specializing in healthcare. Yes,
not even 5 years ago. Like, wasn't there a time there was at least like a 5-year cooling period, or maybe that's the United States? I don't remember, but like
there was a cooling period.
Be a cooling period. I mean, the election was 2021.
Well, it looks like she's a consultant lobbyist for 7 different companies.
Yeah.
ClearPoint Health Network, HLS Therapeutics Incorporated, Compass Minerals Canada, Dexcom Canada, Ontario School Boards Insurance Exchange, and Homewood Health Centre Incorporated. So 3 healthcare companies, private equity firms that they're just destroying our public system, doing it in front of us and doing it with our money.
Yeah. And all of them are clients of Fasken Martineau Dumoulin LLP, which is the lobbying firm. So the Twitter account is at t.resident, by the way. A very, very, very recommended follow.
Absolutely.
Account.
This person does their work, does the digging, and gets the dirt every single time.
Yeah.
And Cassie, just so you're aware, we're not picking on one particular party. We just happen to be picking on the one that's in power here in Ontario.
Yeah.
Every party is guilty of some level of corruption or another. It's just the current one in this province is run by an idiot, former drug dealer, drug kingpin at one point in time. And oh, by the way, that's not an accusation. It's been thoroughly written about in books and newspapers. The Globe and Mail did a feature story on it. There's a story here from Intelligencer, which is from New York Magazine. And the question, this was written about May 28th, 2013. Was someone murdered for the Rob Ford crack video?
Whoa, okay.
That's going back 10 years ago, but we all remember the Rob Ford crack video. We did, like, the level of corruption in this family. There's a book written by Robin Doolittle called Crazy Town.
Right.
About the Rob Ford story. His drug and alcohol fueled antics made world headlines and engulfed the city in unprecedented controversy. Toronto Mayor Rob Ford's personal and political troubles have occupied center stage in North America's 4th largest city since news broke that men involved in the drug trade were selling a videotape of Ford appearing to smoke crack cocaine. So if you dig into the family, and Dean did a story on this yesterday on Crier Media, if you dig into the family, you'll discover the level of criminality and corruption has been going on for decades. Mm-hmm. And they're doing everything they can to try and cover it up. Meanwhile, in the same token, they're also selling off Greenbelt lands to private developers that, you know, there's finally an actual investigation into Doug Ford's government
And
over that issue.
yeah, and they're funneling money to the healthcare system to private,
Yes.
as we heard
Now
yesterday.
we're talking about ClearPoint Health. I want to know how much money was funneled to, because right now you understand that Galen Weston's big drug wing. Now he has stores in his grocery stores, but he also owns a separate drug company. I'm not going to say the name of it, but that company was tasked with distributing the vaccines to all the other pharmacies across the province. Well, let me ask you a question. If you, as a private for-profit business, are handed the reins to a distribution for your competitors, how much effort are you going to put into sending out that product to your competitors? Can we say corruption? Look, I get it. They have a big distribution network, but who are they going to fill the coffers first? Their own. If there's anything left over, you'll get something. It's like, come on, man. Handing over public funds to private for-profit corporations is only going to benefit those corporations. It will not benefit the public at large. The level of in-your-face corruption is what blows my mind.
Yep. So we have all the Greenbelt stuff. We have the $1 billion gift to the people who bought the 407. We have all this money going to long-term care, to nursing agencies, and to private clinics, actually buying their equipment for them for all intents and purposes.
Yes.
Then we have, as a Kit Linda just put out here, decided out of the blue to give $10 million a year to horse racing, and Monty McNaughton, the one we thought was the half decent one in the whole bunch, stepped down to work for a horse racing venue in Toronto after saying he wanted to decrease travel. We have the medical office, for which his daughter, I believe, is a manager.
I'm not sure about that, but it's possible. Yes.
Somewhere I remember seeing that on her CV. She's like a manager of a medical office or something like that. But it's like, oh, gee, wonder who hired her. Maybe one of those private clinics that are getting money. We have Ivana Yelachiu at the Sun. With literally in bed with the Sun, if that relationship's still going
literally.
on. Then we had him try to bring in Ron Tavener. We have the Gravy Plane. So yeah, Cassie's going, just sitting here in Manitoba watching Ontario politics with a popcorn emoji. Yeah, I get the popcorn, because this
absolutely.
There was a guy yesterday online say like this: we have to get rid of this corrupt Trudeau government, the most corrupt government in the world, or something like that. And it's like, sister, it's not even the most corrupt government in the country.
Not even close. Of course, there's corruption at every level of government. I get that. It's not a secret.
We got Ford. We've got Danielle Smith. We've got Blaine Higgs. We've got Scott Moe. I mean, like, it's like they're all sitting there like, this Trudeau is the most. It was like, really? Because like,
methinks thou doth protest too much.
Me think your lens is a little. You need a wider lens. So yeah, you with this guy, you literally have to look at absolutely everything. I'm serious about it. And here we go. Another thing. November 14th, Colin DeMello.
Oh, what's that?
New. It's not just the premiere. Newly released cell phone records show several prominent cabinet ministers had large stretches of inactivity on their official devices when critical government decisions were being made.
Yes, they were using their own private devices to conduct government business. Didn't something like that occur in the United States a bunch of years back?
Yes. They talked about certain people actually destroying their cell phones with hammers and how terrible that was.
And then somebody used their own private email server, and didn't they ask to lock her up for that? And
Yep, indeed. So according to
why are they using private phones to conduct government business?
Not.
It's not allowed,
and they should not. And right now, because they're doing the very fact that they're doing it should have people wearing silver bracelets again.
Yes.
There is absolutely no reason whatsoever in any way. If you need to have a secure method of communicating, government provides one.
Yes.
There is no
So
reason.
what's being
There's
discussed is what I want to
exactly.
know.
But here's the overall principle. You were working in the government. You're an elected official. You're working for us. Everything that you are doing is on our dime, on our time, and in our name.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing that should be on a private or personal device or on a private or personal server ever. And the very fact that it is, that alone should ring enough alarm bells to say, okay, whoop, stop the presses, stop everything that's going on. We're sending in the police. What is it that you're
Mm-hmm.
doing with that other hand that you got us on speakerphone? Again,
Well, this note here from Linda, the government phone should be a lot more secure than private phones, which is why the government was reluctant to give up Blackberries for the longest time, because they were the most secure devices that
that
you could use,
it's
period.
true.
They were. There was no, that's why governments use them, because they were the most secure devices. Now, all the, what, I don't know what they've been issued, whether they're Android or Apple product. I don't know. Either way, I know that they have 256-bit encryption on them. But all their private devices, those phone records are easily gotten.
Yep. Well, according to the article, freedom of information requests submitted by Global News in August show the then ministers of Education, Finance, Health, Housing, and Transportation made either no phone calls or used very few minutes on their government-issued devices during crucial moments in their ministries. The phone records requested by Global News covered a 1-month period for each minister over the past year when they were involved in a significant government decision. One minister made 0 phone calls on their government-issued device during that 1-month period, while the others made between 1 and 20 minutes worth of phone calls from their work devices. All 5 ministers said in-person meetings and other forms of communication like Microsoft Teams were behind the lack of calls. So Sylvia Jones is one of them. Education Minister Stefan Lecce also rarely used his official phone while working on key negotiations with education workers and navigating a wildcat strike in November 2022. Let's see who else there. A spokesperson from Lecce argued the lack of minutes in the minister's phone was a result of the fact conversations with striking education workers were carried out through a negotiator, and many briefings took place in person. Yeah, because they never talked about the conversations after the meetings with anybody else, right? A few months later, in March 2023, the documents show that Finance Minister Peter Bethan-Falvey made only 2 minutes of calls as he was finalizing Ontario's budget. The final 2 ministers, former Housing Minister Steve Clark and former Transportation Minister Carolyn Mulroney, made 20 minutes of calls each in a single month. Global News obtained Clark's phone bill for November 2022 when he announced the controversial changes to Ontario Greenbelt, and Mulroney in April 23, when the province admitted a slew of issues with the Eglinton LRT. So when the poop hits the fan, they stop using the phones.
Well,
Or when they have to make a
let's
really, really big decision, like on who's going to get the money, they stop using the phones.
Let's go back to 1998 for a second. And look at this tweet. How fast would I disappear if I showed a picture of me buying a pound of hash off Doug circa 1988? No faces. I don't want to get in trouble, but that's his hand. Okay, that's an accusation. It's libelous for sure, but that could be anybody's hand, right?
That could
It could be anybody's hand, but people are coming out of the woodwork to talk about what took place back then. So I have reason to believe that's probably the real thing. Now, let's also take a look, because we've been talking about healthcare in the Greenbelt. What about Ontario Place?
Oh, tell us about Ontario
Why
Place.
do you need a $500 million underground parking structure for a spa? A spa?
Come on,
Really?
Sevens. Daddy needs a butt lift.
It's because he's going to build a casino. That's all it is. You don't need a parking structure that big for a spa. And how do I know this? The largest spa in all of North America is a 15-minute drive from my apartment. It's called Le Nordic. It's the largest in North America, and it is huge. And it has a parking lot. It's a surface level parking lot, and it's not $500 million. It's gravel and might be able to hold 300 cars. Now, Therm is going to be quite big because they want to take up the Ontario Place Island, but isn't there supposed to be an Ontario Science Centre there as well, which is about the size of my apartment, I believe? So, that can handle 30 people at a time. So how much parking do they need for that? And isn't there also like a train that goes very close to there? There's like a GO train, right, that stops at Exhibition Place, which is a short hop to Ontario Place. It's just, come on, look, this whole thing is corrupt. And again, they're not even good at it.
Yeah.
They're not even good at it.
Yep.
We can trace everything back to him and his minions.
Yep.
So, look, our CMP is going to bring him down, hopefully, fingers crossed, over the Greenbelt scandal. But let's look into the Therm issue and what's being done to Ontario Place. And Olivia Chow is fighting back on that because people are really pissed about it.
And let's look at the highway deals because there's some development there. I mean, let's look at those healthcare deals. I mean, listen, this guy has one play, and it seems to be playing it over and over and over, which regardless of. So just we trusted. We found out that there was a reason to verify. Now there's a criminal investigation. Check everything. Check everything.
Not just the Greenbelt. Why did he wave away a $2 billion penalty or $1 billion penalty on the 407? $1 billion penalty on the 407. Yeah, just wave it away. You cut $2 billion from our budget by eliminating license plate stickers. That's $2 billion worth of tax revenue that could have gone to, I don't know, highway maintenance, as an example.
Yeah. We have Kit Cassie here saying, blatant corruption to our right in Saskatchewan too. The health minister paid for a senior housing protester to stay in a hotel owned by Saskatchewan Party MLA, and they doubled the regular rate. Of
Funny
course
how
they
that
did.
works, huh?
Of course they did.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, indeed.
The only other place I've seen a parking structure as large as what they want to build at Therm is at Fallsview Casino.
Fallsview what?
Casino.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah.
You got to remember, Dougie's been wanting to build a downtown casino for years.
Yep.
Back when he was a civic politician, a municipal politician.
And the Greenbelt has taught us that when dumbass Dougie Donuts has an idea, he doesn't let it go, even though he's told you, "Oh no, I let that go. I won't do it." There's always trying to find another route to get there.
Yeah, well, is it Highway 413 he wants to build, or 403? I can't remember that. The highway that will service almost nobody.
Yep. Oh man, I tell you.
Or building homes. Again, the province is not building a single home.
You have Laura Babcock upon the news of the phones. Oh my God, so it wasn't just Ford going under the radar using a private cell phone. Seems some of his cabinet ministers also ditching their official devices so comms couldn't be tracked. This looks more like a criminal enterprise by the day, which had me wondering, I was like, Laura, in your professional experience and opinion, because, she knows about these kinds of things. What is it called, again, when a group of people come to an agreement to do various things collectively, which just happen to be a touch criminally-ish?
Racketeering? An alliance? A cabal?
Organized crime?
Not that organized, apparently.
Well, they certainly organize themselves to do lots of criming. It's just criming isn't particularly well. You know what? You say that, but I mean, they got a lot done in 5 years. When you come to think of it, it's like they was pretty. They're overall incompetent, but these structures that have changed now in our healthcare thing. What are the odds that an upcoming government is really going to change it?
Well, you remember the iron ring he's putting around those long-term care homes. Yes, there is an iron ring around the homes, but it's not for the residents. It's so that you cannot sue the companies and the stakeholders in them. That's what the Iron Ring does. It prevents you from suing them for malfeasance or improprieties or mistreatment of your relative who may be in one of those private for-profit long-term care homes.
Yep.
So,
And Christine Elliott is now a lobbyist for one of those centers
yeah,
that does that.
it's just like everybody's scratching each other's back and putting each other's hands in each other's pockets, and they're doing it with our money.
So, Kits and Cubs, just when you thought that the Ford government was corrupt AF. Yeah. Then comes Miss Seven Lobbies. I'm just...
Yeah.
And like I said, but like we mentioned yesterday, and it seems to be a global thing with conservatives because you got, the UK government that's recycled David Cameron because he actually showed up in Ukraine for his first duties, and you got Boris Johnson that's been recycled by the IDU.
Here's another thing too, from Jillian. Remember, Doug said,
"Oh yes,
we'll have the best paid sick leave in North America." Yeah, I get 3 days a year as well, Jillian. That's it. 3. And they're not necessarily sick days. They're 3 days, personal or sick, but that's it. That's all I get. If I get sick for longer than that, it's either I work for nothing or I take vacation time.
And Kadan points out something. Go look back at the BC leadership when they booted Brown and at the table was Ford, Elliott, and Monte. Ford is the premier, Elliott's got 7 lobbying jobs, and Monte just had $10 million go to the racing track that he happens to work for.
Yeah. $10 million for a gambling environment.
Yeah.
A gambling, what's this, a house come on, man. Like,
I am shocked that there's corruption going on in my government. Shocked. You're winning, sir. Oh, sorry. Your payola, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
Except, your bribes, sir, or your payola, sir, or your kickbacks, sir, instead of your winnings.
Sir, your winnings for this evening.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you very much. All right. In other news,
I have a clip for you.
Okay.
I have a clip for you of a gentleman who tried a couple of times to put this up, and he said he kept screwing it up and had to redo it because he's so angry, and his anger comes across. This is when the silent majority of Canadians start to speak up, the quiet Canadians, because we're sick and tired of this. I don't know who this gentleman is, but I'm going to show you this video, and it's 2 minutes and 45 seconds, and he sums it up. It's just watch.
That's where I was going.
I'm going to take a fourth crack at it, not because TikTok took it down, my previous 3 attempts, but because my true emotions were being on full display. Around 250 protesters surrounded Vancouver restaurant where Trudeau was dining. They are not protesters. They are domestic terrorists. What is their political agenda? There is no Canadian. There are no Canadians who act like this unless they're anti-vaxxers or freedom convoyers. That genre of Canadian acts like this. 2 arrested after 100 officers. 100 officers deployed to Chinatown to control the crowd so that our Prime Minister could leave. You are threatening the life of our national leader. Now, there's some of you pond scum that will say that no one does this to Poilievre because no one hates Poilievre the way we hate Trudeau. Tell you what, I despise Poilievre not only as a politician but as a human being. I think he's vile and corrupt. I think he's a liar and a cheat. He's deceiving us with his bullshit. He acts in hubris. I can't stand the man, but you would never catch me and literally millions of other Canadians act this way. It is beneath contempt to behave in this manner. You are violent, vile, domestic terrorists. Period. You have none of my respect, as if you give a shit if you did. You represent nothing of this country. Nothing. You are an embarrassment and a humiliation to Canada. You tarnish our reputation and blacken our eyes in the eyes of the world. You represent the worst, most contemptible portion of our society. I despise you, and you make me sick. And I will do everything in my power as a result of events like this to ensure that this man gets elected prime minister again. You have motivated me and millions of other Canadians in a call to action. And I will dedicate my life to making sure that Poilievre is not the leader of this country. Thank you for the motivation, you contemptible, vile cretins.
So let me go get a blue jacket to send to that man, because that was kick-ass.
Yeah.
4 times he said it took him to do it because he was so angry.
Yep.
And I get it. I get it. Look, you can love or hate Trudeau, but what that man just said, bang on. Sir, may I present your blue jacket?
Yep.
It's at Tim Krutz 3, TIMKRUTZ 3 on the TikTok. That's what it says on his video.
Yep. Tim, they're traitors in my eyes. Yep. I got nothing to add. There's no way I could have said it better, and that's literally where I was going when you said I've got something else. I was going to bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
According
well,
to
in the question I have that I wrote about earlier, it's like how because his itinerary is published, but when he goes to dinner, that's not official business. That's him having dinner. So he would have his RCMP security detail. That's standard. But I'm like, how did people know that he was there? Was there one person and then he tweeted all their friends or something? And they said, come on, let's show up. 250 people showed up within 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Did somebody leak that he was there?
CSIS, RCMP. Take a look at that. According to the CBC article here, Vancouver police say an officer was injured after scuffles with protesters outside a restaurant in the city's Chinatown where the Prime Minister was dining on Tuesday night. Vancouver Police Department Sergeant Steve Addison said in a statement that 100 officers were deployed around 10 p.m. after protesters surrounded a restaurant. He said Justin Trudeau was inside the restaurant at the time and officers helped control the crowd so the Prime Minister could be escorted out. Videos posted online show police creating space on the sidewalk and street as Trudeau walked out and got into a vehicle and was driven away. Protesters chant ceasefire now and hold Palestine flags. Addison said police estimated 250 protesters were near the restaurant, which he did not name. He said the establishment was on Main Street near Kiefer Street and said that about 150 people were in front of the restaurant while another 100 were behind it. It became a security concern for us, he told CBC News, describing that barricades were being set up and people were locking arms. Police called the protest spontaneous, meaning Vancouver Police Department was not advised about it beforehand. Other videos posted online appeared to show Trudeau leaving a different restaurant on Tuesday after protesters entered the premises and called for a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war. If you are surrounding a building and locking arms, you're not protesting, you're trying to trap someone. In the Chinatown protests, Addison said one officer was injured and taken to the hospital for treatment after being punched in the face and having her eyes gouged. Really? Really? This is what we're doing now. Police said they arrested a 27-year-old man from Coquitlam, BC in relation to the assault. Officers deployed a taser as part of the arrest along with other physical control tactics. Officers also arrested a 34-year-old Vancouver man for obstructing police. He was later released from custody. Police were recommending charges against the 27-year-old to the BC Prosecution Service. When protests occur, our primary role is to maintain order, to facilitate a peaceful environment for people to express themselves, and to respond to unlawful behavior if it occurs. Vancouver Police Department says on average it attends around 800 protests in the city. On Tuesday, Addison said the city is on pace to exceed 1,000 for 2023. VPD also acknowledged posts that appeared online from around 9 p.m. that appeared to show the Prime Minister dining
at another well-known Indian restaurant on Canby Street before protesters approached him and called to demand a ceasefire in the Middle East. Addison said that incident preceded the protest in Chinatown and did not require significant police response. So yeah, they definitely had his itinerary if they knew where he was going to be at 9 p.m. and where he was going afterwards as well.
And again, because that's private function, that's not released to the public.
Yeah.
So it's suspect. So I guess because Pierre Poilievre has been saying that Justin Trudeau controls the entire planet. Inflation, global inflation, and supply chains, and travelers, and he's in control of everything, right? According to Poilievre, but he's not in control of anything at the same time, which is the most bizarre thing. But why are people demand a ceasefire? Didn't he just do that like the day before? Also, I don't know if folks are aware, but here's the thing: he is not the prime minister of Israel. Just in case you didn't know, nor is he the leader of Hamas. So, bringing about a ceasefire, I don't know how he's going to do it, because he's not in charge of either one of those countries.
Yep.
Or the military in either one of those countries, or militants in either one of those countries, or states, or whatever you want to call it. They're being goddamn ridiculous.
Yep.
If anybody can demand a ceasefire, it's Biden, because all he has to do is put his carriers off the coast and go, okay, stop now, or we turn you into glass. It's not going to happen. But he's about the only person on earth who could make that happen.
Yeah. And here's the other
They're just being ridiculous.
Yeah, but here's the other interesting thing, right? Because Don Martin, again, 2 stupid articles. I'm not even going to mention the titles. The thing that Netanyahu put out, right, has everybody out in fantasy land going, Justin Trudeau is humiliated, destroyed, obliterated. Like this Don Martin's like, it's like, ooh, quite a counterpunch from Bibi. It's like counterpunch. It's like that thing was so over the top. It's like, how does it counterpunch if it doesn't even land? It's like, and you will notice one thing. There's something I saw online, and I think it was meant to be meant in a derogatory manner, but the word applies. Canada is a bit, for all these people who are aspiring to be the next power that's going to replace Russia, we're the piñata.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because of all the countries that have the ear of the United States. Everybody knows we can't defend ourselves because we never invested really in our military. Yes. And everybody knows that there's only 40 million of us. So any country that has a larger population probably has more economic clout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they can do it.
I mean, we have all the water and resources and minerals and oil, but
But if you in a trade embargo war, I mean, unless you are really needing these resources and can't get them from anywhere else, we lose. Right. So there's only so much we can do. Yes, we are the soft underbelly of the G7. We are. So it's all the more important for the Prime Minister of Canada to be someone eyes wide open, knowing that we're going to get attacked repeatedly. To be steadfast from also the pressure from outside, but the pressure from within, because when it's a conservative opposition, they always say that the Prime Minister is weak when we're being hit. And then they always demand maximum strength. And then they always preach to roll over. In Mengwangzhu, they said, oh, why don't we just let her go already and finish? Or why didn't we just not enforce our treaty with the United States and just let her slip by? And that way it would be their problem. That's literally what they preached. They begged the Prime Minister to actually give her up. What precedent that would have created, right? NAFTA, too. Shouldn't we have signed this already? Just give in the rest. instead of like,
Yeah.
come on, man. So these guys roll over.
Instead of Krista Phelan doing what she did and got us a better deal.
Yes, that had Trump saying that she was a tough negotiator and he didn't like her.
Yeah.
Because she was tougher and a
Well-
better negotiator than he.
Oh, she's also
Well,
a
duh.
lot smarter.
Yeah, duh. Right? And plus she doesn't take guff. So there's this thing with our conservatives.
Mhm.
Because IGRC, we've talked about this on the show.
Mhm.
You got PP all over the
yes.
place going like this, declare them a terrorist organization. The liberals asked Harper to do that in 2009. PP didn't get done when he was in government. Why? We know why. Because it's so large. Because you would be able to monitor them all, and it's like everybody has to serve in the IGRC. So you'd be getting cooks and mechanics and stuff, right? Not who are just doing what they have to do by law. Doesn't mean that they're necessarily terrorists. He knows why it can't be done. He knows why it can't be done because he was in government when it was asked of them the first time and they didn't do it. They know why. And he's asking for it now. And while the whole world is trying to contain this damn thing, this guy is trying to goad Iran to get in.
Mm-hmm.
What the?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it boils down to.
Right? This is...
Yeah.
I'm like that guy, the words, and it's like I'm
trying to contain. No, I understand. I'm seething rage. Seething
I would
rage.
be doing dishonor to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And
I get it.
It's the I'm starting a sentence and it's like that. Can't say that word. No, I mean, if it was just you and me,
Yeah, different
I'd be
story.
saying
No, I
that damn
understand.
word up the yin yang.
We'll see you next time kind of fellow.
Yes. So yeah, keep your eyes on this guy. And here we also have let's just mention this guy has definitely given up on the fake over. He's leaning into the dickishness. He did the gender ideology thing, so he's given up on rainbow people. He's going all over the place saying, oh, they made a deal with the separatists. They made a deal with the separatists. So he's given up on Quebec.
Yeah.
Because he's...
Well, and he's also destroyed any hope in hell of ever winning anything Quebec at the same time. So, you know.
Full in 100% with Israel, with no nuance, no substance. So he's giving up the Arab vote, the Muslim vote. And according to Statistics Canada, 1.4% of the Canadian population identifies as Jewish. 4.9% of the population identifies as Muslim. And if the Sikhs and the Hindus in Canada are watching the conservatives go and talking about that way about people who have a darker skin, 2.3% of the population is Hindu and 2.1% of the population is Sikh. And he's giving all of that up. And a lot of that means giving up the 905. So if you're giving up Quebec and if you're giving up the 905 and if you're giving up the suburbs of Vancouver, which you absolutely need to win.
Oh, yes.
All so he can pander. And it's literally pandering to the Jewish community.
That's all it is.
And you know it's pandering by the way they've been talking about Vivian Silver.
Because they didn't know she existed until they could use her as a cudgel.
And she stood for everything they don't. She was trying to bring peace there, right now, today, saying that Canada's not being pro-Israel enough. That's their position. Her funeral took place yesterday in Israel. And everybody there, and there were some Arab people that were there as well, invited. At that funeral, Jewish people and Arab people together who knew her, who loved her. None of the people at that funeral approved of what was going on in their own country.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's not
not,
universal. It's not universal.
It's not universal.
And that whole conservative movement that's going on right now, the whole conservative press, is that if you are not like 100% pure, that you sanction absolutely everything that Israel does and don't question, offer no criticism whatsoever, that you're an anti-Semite, that's not going well. That's not going well. And the leader of the opposition, we read a tweet from him yesterday, Yair Lapid, saying, we would be here, we would be there for you. Because, like, sir, you have our support. You already have our support. But having our support doesn't mean that we are going to give you a blank check to do whatever, however, consequence or criticism free. There's a difference between support and being complicit.
Oh, yes.
Don't ask for complicity. Mr. Grizzly, do we have a show?
We do indeed, sir.
All right. Kids and Cubs, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. We hope that you love listening to us because we loved making this for you. Because sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. Please let your peeps and poops know all about us. And there are some people that have done that on Twitter. And thank you so very much. It always warms my heart when I see it because, like I said, there's no better whatsoever advertising for us than you telling people you listen to this and you think it's great and other people should too. So when you do that, thank you so much. Because democracy is something that you do. If you live in the Northwest Territories, take a couple of days off. You did your duty. Donate to the Red Cross.
Well done.
Yes, indeed. Write your letters and all that kind of stuff. And take a tip from that gentleman that we showed. When I say democracy is something that you do, that he's doing it there. Something happened and it motivated him and he's getting involved. And he says, I'm going to dedicate myself to making sure. That's what we need. And that's what David Wallace was calling for, right? Like this. So if you're among us here and some of you have video editing ability, like this, that if we like write a little script and you can put some images together and put some music overlay so that we can sort of be our own
I can do that.
Yeah. But
no, I can do all
but
that.
You've got a lot already. I guess, but so that we can be our own sort of Lincoln project. Right? Or as Dan does.
Help us spread the word.
Or as Dan does, doing some flyering for a candidate that you support, that kind of stuff. We're going to need you this coming election. We're going to need you. So just and remember, everybody has something they can contribute. So whatever talent you have, you can draw, you can write music, you can do, like this. We can do a parody song. You can, whatever it is. Okay. If you've got it, bring it to the table. Because now more than ever, we need it. Right? That's my democracy, something that you do. And if you want to like write us at our email address, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com, and let us know what it is and how you would like to contribute, or we can call on you. This, if we have an idea for a meme or a little video or whatnot, and you can help us with that, we would love that very much. All right. I'm serious. I'm we can't just let, no, it's not, no. It's, when you watch Bugs Bunny, the coyote and the roadrunner, like this, and there's like a big rock and there's like a black sort of thing, and you see a little white dot, it's a train. Right? After a while, you've seen enough of them, and then the coyote gets run over. We're on the tracks, and there's a white dot. Let's get off the track and stop that. Let the train go by and not run us over. Because we can't have that. We can't have that.
No, it's important that we get off the track and not get hit by the train. Let's not stare into the lights like a deer would.
Yep.
They call that jacklighting. Let's not be jacklitten. Let's not be gaslitten. Let's stand up and do some democracy like Tim Kreutz just did. And whether you like, love, or hate Justin Trudeau doesn't matter to me. That you love democracy more does. That you love a just and democratic society does. That you love a society that provides a social safety net and a hand up for those who need it.
Yep.
That's important.
And there was like a National Post article that said 1 in 5 Canadians want Justin Trudeau to resign just because they're tired of him. That's the reason. Again, I keep on telling you, you don't compare the current guy to the almighty. You compare him to the alternatives. And who's on the menu?
That's the problem.
You vote first for democracy, then for whatever issues you have. All right?
Well, I don't know if anybody saw the Beaverton article the other day. I reposted, I guess. I retweeted it. And let's see if I can find it here. It talks about how the Beaverton, as soon as they talk about how people want, as soon as they're finished, mainstream media, as soon as they finish writing about how much Trudeau is slipping in the polls, they'll certainly get to Pierre Poilievre's disgusting display about anti-LGBTQ, his homophobic rant. As soon as they, there it is. I found it. Media promised to start covering Pierre Poilievre's transphobic comments as soon as they finish 50th story on how liberals are unpopular. See, it's funny because it's true, and it's a satirical news website, and they get it right. That's telling.
All right, Mr. Grizzly, a little longer outro, but if you got some words of wisdom other than what you've just said, please drop it on.
I'm kind of out.
All right, Mr. Grizzly, roll the credits, and I'll be back with... You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. All right, kids, for our Easter egg, not something funny today, but news you can use. Attention, all disabled and neurodivergent Canadians, their caretakers and family, the consultation has officially opened for the Canadian Disability Benefit. We've been talking about this regularly. We wanted our say. This is our chance. Please share the link and encourage everyone in your circles to submit and help to find a benefit that will help with our cost of living for generations. And this is Michelle Tremblay at ODS Poor. On Twitter, another recommended follow that is sharing this information. The Government of Canada is consulting Canadians on the new Canada Disability Benefit. You're invited to share your thoughts on the benefit details such as eligibility, benefit amount, which will help inform the development of the regulations for the benefit. How to participate, there's a link that we've provided in the chats for you. And I believe that you have until December 21st, 2023 to provide your feedback through the various methods that are allowed through the site. So please, if this concerns you, do get involved and have your voice heard. All right? Love y'all. Have a beaverific day.
See ya.